So this is the 31st running of the New Zealand Wine Awards. We'll be judging over 1,350 wines over 3 days. We've got 26 judges from all over New Zealand and the world judging day one, first bracket, which is Sauvignon Blanc. And it's going to be a really interesting week of judging because we've had 3 or 4 amazing years in New Zealand with our vintages, and Sauvignon Blanc's sort of the kickstart of the show, and it's one of the most important styles obviously for New Zealand, so we're right into the first day of that. So I often get asked about wine tasting. I think it's sort of a mystical sort of a thing for people, but you have to be very careful. We obviously spit all of the wines, and if we didn't spit, we wouldn't make lunchtime. It can be a little bit of a speed date tasting wine, so we have to be careful that we get to know the wine a little better than that. Anybody that wins a medal, particularly a gold or a trophy from this show, you can guarantee that it's been a stringent process, and they can be very proud of their award and trophy. We've got a combination of very experienced judges with some new judges coming in. We have PJ Charteris from Australia, who he's involved with some wine consultancy and works as a winemaker in the Hunter Valley. We have Elaine Shukan Brown from the US, and she is a wine commentator and a very good wine judge. And we have Sarah Knowles, who's an MW, a Master of Wine, and she is our New Zealand wine buyer for the Wine Society in the UK.
New Zealand is incredibly popular. I think it's an 18% growth across the UK, dominated by New Zealand Sauvignon, which is still experiencing huge growth and huge popularity. At the Wine Society where I work, New Zealand wine is also in double-digit growth. Sauvignon is still also leading the way, but Chardonnay and Pinots are starting to come through. I think the UK market is pretty much in love with the consistency and aromatic style of Sauvignon, but starting to experiment with a few other great varieties from the same regions. Some of the newer things that we're discovering with our wines from New Zealand are the Pinots. So there's a real focus on regionality with Pinot, and so I think there's an understanding that there's a difference between Pinots made in Martinborough and Central Otago, for instance. We find that Marlborough Pinot tends to be very popular at a more commercial price point, which is definitely opening doors to the other styles at a higher price point. And perhaps Pinot going forward will be a more interesting fine wine proposition.